Next up, I have this game called Smelter that comes out on the 22nd of this month. So it's really not that far off. Um, I actually found it earlier today. Uh, I end up talking a lot about Metroidvanias, I feel like. And I do love Metroidvanias, but I don't always play them because there's just so many, and so many indie games are in that style now. But Smelter is an incredibly gorgeous Metroidvania game. It's the Steam page says, "You are Eve, fresh out of Eden, and armed with a living suit of armor called Smelter. You explore a dangerous new world, battling its bizarre denizens, and expand your empire in a desperate journey to find Adam." And if you check out the Steam page, it's really funny because one of the first images on there is like this beautiful sprite work of Adam and Eve with like little bikini bottoms on,
Yep.
and it's gorgeous. But it's both this incredibly pretty. We're talking like Metroid Fusion level graphics, I'd say, but it has a tower defense-ish strategy system. So whenever you take over the parts of your land, when you reclaim parts of your land back, I guess it looks like you're defending these places from the local fauna and perhaps the forces of Adam. It looks like a very interesting fantasy sci-fi thing that was really unexpected for me when I found it. It's very much one of those games that you expect to be on Kickstarter for like 5 or 6 years. But it looks really good. It's published by Dangan Entertainment, so they have done some great stuff. I tried to look up the developer, and the developer has this weird website that's like focused on fashion. So I don't know. Like, I couldn't figure out anything from the developer's website because I looked for like a Twitter or something. They have a just a Japanese website, so maybe the translation was a little off, but they have an Instagram that's focused on fashion products, and then their website has like 5 or 6 different places you can go to, and you click on the video game picture, and it takes you to only this game, and it's not even as good as the Steam description. So
Weird.
I have no idea, but it's very indie and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, under about
That's
this
so
game.
funny.
Under about this game, it says Smelter is a strategy action platformer combo inspired by classics from the 16-bit era. Lead Smelter and his faithful Zerm forces by expanding Smelter's territory across the Rumbly lands in top-down strategy levels, then dive into thrilling side-scrolling action stages after annexing key locations. Build, attack, and advance your army. Unlock, upgrade, and unleash elemental action skills against vicious enemies, perilous environments, and dangerous bosses.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's no mention of Eve at all in there.
Yeah.
Also, that is a lot of words.
It's a lot. Like, I have no idea what they're doing to market it because they actually have
fashion?
yeah, fashion. They actually it's part of Humble, and it says it's going to be on GOG, Steam, Humble. Like, the publisher's doing their job.
Yeah, the
developer, I have no idea.
So this is the one you're saying. Yeah, they did Iconoclast and Crosscode.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah, and just checking out the Steam page, it's fantastic looking. The strategy parts of it look very interesting. It really doesn't look like a specific game.
Nope.
Because it has a little bit of Advance Wars, a little bit of Into the Breach, all at the same time as far as the strategy side goes. And of course, the Metroidvanias have been all over the place lately, but it has so many different. The levels look so varied, and just the story, that plot that we don't completely get yet.
Yeah.
Seems really out there. And I mean, it's futuristic at the same time. It's got fantasy elements and very very old architecture at the same time. So it just looks incredibly appealing. It looks more like a concept game than an actual finished game. So in 2 weeks, I'm gonna try it out and see if it's as good as I hope.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
What the couple that I've grabbed here off of the list of things that are coming out is Biomutant, May 25th. This is a open world RPG where you play as a biomutant. But
Roll credits.
more importantly, it's like an over the top comic book action RPG where you play some sort of cat, bunny, raccoon hybrid thing that has swords, bow staffs, guns, whatever. It's a lot, but it looks very fun, and it just looks like a good time. Looking at it, the colors are very bright and colorful. A lot of cute / scary looking creatures and things. It just looks very fun and cool. And that comes out May 25th. I think it's THQ Nordic that's doing that. Hold on, let me double check that because that doesn't.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
is, they're publishing it.
It's been 4 years since we saw the first trailer for it, though.
Right, and they've shown a
My
lot.
goodness.
They've shown a lot more. They showed like gameplay like a month ago or something like that. Like when you shoot stuff, it says like bang, like comic book style. Like it looks it's very stylized for a buzzword if you like those. It looks cool. It's early enough in the summer, May 25th, that it could be one of those early summer darlings that is not quite a AAA game, but a AA. And it just looks like a lot of fun. Hopefully it's good. Every time I post about it, I'm just like, please be good. Just please be good. If it's bad, it's gonna be a huge disappointment to a lot of people because people are just like, well, this looks like a good time. Like it just looks like a nothing is going to be taken seriously kind of fun romp.
I mean, you say that for me, it brings to heart too much of I don't know how many people remember, but Mutant Year Zero. It was a strategy game that had this whole mutant animal hybrid thing going on.
Yeah, but
and it was
that's
known
based
for
off
its
of a-
CG trailer.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
the Mutant Year Zero thing, that's based off of a comic book, and it's like XCOM, but with sneak mechanics and harder. So that's a little bit different. It's not as more like get in there and have a good time. Like there's also like you're piloting, you can get a giant mech. It looks like, hey, we threw a bunch of fun things at the wall, and this is what we got.
Yeah.
I just hope it's good, because if it's not, it's going to be a total bummer. The other one I have here is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which comes out June 11th. That first Ratchet and Clank like reboot that they did a few years back now, was so excellent. They just recently did a like 60 frames per second boost on PS5 for that. If you have a PS5, all 5 of you.
Saying
Yeah.
hi to the scalpers.
Saying hi to scalpers. Ratchet and Clank is good, man. They just know how to do it. A lot of the short load times are going to be taken advantage of here, with passing through rifts, going to other dimensions and things. Really interested to see what that actually is, because they've only shown the same demo like 2 different times. So it's the same thing we've seen before. We saw it again. We're like, yep, that looks exactly like the thing we saw before. I'd like to see more of what this is. I'd like to see because there's that moment at the end of the trailer where you go through the alternate reality and now you're a different. I almost said Bandicoot. That's not it.
Lombax, right?
Lombax.
Different
yeah.
Lombax, yeah, a female Lombax. So I'm interested to see what they do story-wise there. Always a lot of fun, and I don't think there's a movie tied to it this time, so we don't have to suffer through that. Because the game was much better than the movie. If they would have just taken the game and go, "This is the movie," it would have been fine, but they didn't do that. So, but yeah, Rift Apart gonna be a big PlayStation title this year, one of the only ones. But it's gonna be. I feel like that's gonna be one as soon as it releases, we're gonna be seeing it get 9s and all sorts of stuff like that because those.
Yeah,
games
I
do
don't think
review
they can
well.
miss with that one.
No, I think it's if they just go, hey, we did the same thing as we did last time, but with like some cooler mechanics, you're good. Like you got it. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Devi,
What's that?
You got Knockout City.
I do in fact.
Oh,
I have
I
Knockout
think,
City
I
on
think
there.
I could talk about this one. I've played it longer than you have. This weekend I put in 99
Please.
hours. You only put in 98. So
Out of 160 for the week.
Sips
Yep.
tea.
Y'all are joking.
That's right.
Y'all got jokes today.
But that's basically going to be my life when the game comes out. It's going to be the 100 hours and however many actual daytime hours that is, because the beta kind of took over my life. And I know I say that about a lot of games that I play, but that's only because I have the most immaculate taste in games in the world. Okay. I play the kind of games that you don't want to put down, and Knockout City is going to be one of those games for sure. Just during the beta weekend alone, it made top 10 viewership on Twitch. Just during the beta weekend.
Nice.
I think it was like number 8 or something like that. And it had like 100,000 viewers. And it had an $1,000 tournament. This was before that tournament hit.
what?
It
For
made
a
top 10
beta?
viewership.
There's
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
So Golden Boy, who is like a prominent shoutcaster or whatever, known for like Overwatch, and I think he's about to
Yeah.
do like a big wrestling event sort of thing.
Yep.
He put $500 down. He was like, I'm gonna have a tournament for this. $500. Come on and play. And then Velen Studios, the studios behind it, were like, oh, that sounds like fun. Here, let's match that. And so they did that. And it was like a 16-team, small, like a very small bracket, $1,000 tournament. And let me tell you, I watched that whole tournament while I was playing the game because I have a multi-monitor setup. And it was just the most intense, like exhilarating experience in the world. That game is going to be a top contender when it comes out on all platforms, by the way, with crossplay and cross progression for $20
Nice.
on May 21st. I'm so sad I have to wait like 2 months for it. I want it now. I want it
and
now.
it is
Man.
arena. I'm not gonna say
It is-
arena shooter.
It is a
'cause
dodge
that's
brawler.
Yeah.
It is a dodge brawler. So basically imagine third-person shooting dodgeball.
Where you
Yeah.
can also throw the other humans.
Yes. So the main mechanic behind Knockout City is that, yes, there are, of course, dodgeballs, and there are special kinds of balls, too. Like Moonball, which if you get hit by, you are floating, you like are set floating instead of just flying. Also, while holding it, you jump more slowly and more highly. You jump higher.
Like no
But yeah,
gravity.
the main mechanic of it is that you, as the player, can become a ball. And everyone has 2 hearts of health. But if you get hit by a human as a ball, it's an instant KO. So it's really cool to strategize with your team. Like if you don't have a ball in the area, oh, well, I'm a ball now, throw me. But the trick is you could be caught and thrown back. Or off a cliff, however they
Yeah,
feel.
I've watched that a few times.
Yeah.
It's not very satisfying. It hurts a lot. Because the respawn timer is 5 seconds. But during a game like that, it feels like the longest time in the world. Every time I died, I was just like, man, this is torture. This waiting. I just want to get back in there and like hurl some balls, Phrasing. I know.
Yeah. I was about to say.
But it's a lot of fun. I can't wait for it to come out at all. I already know I'm going to spend so much time on it. And gosh, please get it for whatever platform you have. Please get it. It comes out on PC. Everything else, $20. It's not going to be on Game Pass, unfortunately. But it's worth the money. I feel.
And-
It's good stuff.
And the date on
May
that is
21st.
May 21st.
Yeah, please look
I'm
forward
just
to it.
wondering how much time that's going to eat into your Ninjala time. That's
Well,
the question.
speaking of Ninjala, they're doing a Monster Hunter Rise collab, and I was using Monster Hunter Rise to escape Ninjala to like take a break from that. So then they put Rise and Ninjala, and now it's just like my two obsessions are like
It's a perfect
I can't,
storm.
I can't escape. So here comes Knockout City, calling it now. Like, but yeah. Other than that, Pokemon Snap comes out at the end of the month. The new Pokemon Snap that's going to be on the Switch. I mean, the Switch right now is such a good time during the summer. You're going to have new Pokemon Snap. You're going to have Knockout City. You're going to have, like, gosh, Pokemon Unite is coming out. They haven't said anything since the last beta. So I'm hoping it comes out this month. I really want it to come out this month just to hold me over until Knockout City. Because I already know Pokemon Snap. I'm going to pick it up. I already have it all pre-ordered and paid off and everything. It's Pokemon Snap. Like, please, if you want that game, reserve it, pre-order it, because you're not going to be able to find it for like 3 months. like Pokemon Conquest on the DS, which was a surprising hit. It was so hard to find that game for like half a year. This is a game that people have been anticipating for what? 12 years, 14 years? How old is it? I don't know.
Old.
So if you want that game, it's gorgeous. Comes out on the 30th to be exact. You need to pre-order that game now because you're not going to find it. Especially considering all the gameplay footage we've seen, the new mechanics in it with the new, I mean, of course, they're going to have the apples or whatever, but then there's like it's not like a pester ball. It's like a luminescent item. So if you throw it at a Pokemon, it makes it like basically glow effervescently. And I don't know what the end-all be-all purpose of that is going to be besides getting like, you know, an Instagram filter for your Pokemon. But like, I don't know. I'm really excited to see the new kind of twists that they have for this game.
I do feel like that's probably like an in-game extension to probably even double your gameplay time. Since I mean the original you could get done in just a few hours. So yeah, the photo mode and everything is gonna be hella good for the social medias and stuff.
Yeah, and
it's gonna be so
speaking
fun.
of, they have that feature where it's basically like Twitter for your photos, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be accessible through the Nintendo Switch Online app. But it'll probably have its like own sort of thing too, like the Splatoon 2 does for its like in-game posts.
Mhm.
I'm really looking forward to that because I'm getting my practice in Monster Hunter Rise. You know, they have that camera mode, so I'm already practicing. You know, I got my photog going. My degree's in Photoshop, just so you know. So I'm gonna kill it.
Thomas, what you got for us?
Hello.
Hello.
I've got Mass Effect and Solar Ash on my list here. So Mass Effect is the Legendary Edition, the re-release of the trilogy. That's slated for May 14th. The internet tells me that, I mean, most of the changes you're going to see in that Legendary Edition are going to be in the first one. The first game was a lot different than the second and third because it was a lot more role-playing based, like tabletop based, so like dice rolls and like the combat especially, it was a little less tight than 2 and 3. Like if you compared it to a modern shooter, you'd just be like, did a caveman make this? What is happening here? Because it really is so, it's very clunky. I mean, it's fun, but it's very clunky. So a lot of the Legendary Edition improvements have just brought it more in line with the second and third game. I'm not going to go through the list of all the changes, but basically your combat, like now you can press a melee button. In the original game, melee just automatically happened when you got in melee range of somebody. It was weird. You could only sprint when you were in combat in the first game, and it was this comically fast, like Terminator run. Now you can sprint at any time, just like the other games. The items, the inventory management in the first game was like hilariously bad, where basically you would have a zillion items, like a zillion items that were junk that you just needed to melt down into Omnigel, which you use to, you know, heal things and whatever, or you wanted to sell them. But every single time you pressed X to either melt something or to sell it, it it would send you all the way back up to the top of the list. So if it's been a really long time since you've cleared out your inventory space, it would take you like 20 minutes to clear out your inventory. Anyway, they fixed that.
Okay.
So other stuff like that, where it's just like the core game is still the core game, but it's going to feel a lot more in line with the rest of the series because previously there was a big jump there. But you'll get them all in one bundle, and you'll get them all on the modern systems. So you'll get the best version that exists of those games. That comes out on May 15th, or May 14th, rather.
I have a question for you all, because you all have played Mass Effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some.
Should I start with one, or should I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely. Especially, like, I still
At
would've
least for
told
the
you-
decisions.
Yeah, I still would have told you the same answer before the Legendary Edition. But some people would have said start with 2 because it's a lot cleaner, a lot more familiar. It would feel a lot more comfortable based on the games that you've played. But with all these upgrades to 1, now I can double down on that. You got to play the first one because it's all about the story. And at this point, you're going to know stuff that you, even just like osmosis through the internet, you now know things about the game that you wouldn't have known back then. So there are going to be some surprises that you're like, well, I knew this was coming 5 years out. Like, but the impacts of the game and the first story are really good. Absolutely start with the first game.
I mean, that's still a big ask, like 200 plus hours over 3 games.
But it's worth
So-
it.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's that long. I think I beat each game in 30 hours, like fairly completionist, 30 hours apiece. So I'd say if you went through all of them and you're like, well, and I do play stuff slowly. If you play at my speed, about 100 hours for the trilogy. But it's a good 100 hours. There's not a lot of fluff there if you choose to avoid that fluff. In the first game, there's there's the Mako, the little all-terrain vehicle that drops down onto these planets that you can choose to go around and like explore structures and climb up an almost vertical wall, because even according to this PlayStation blog, it's like the Mako now has faster shield recharging, which is very important, and new thrusters added to the rear, allowing for a speed boost when you're inevitably trying to scale up the side of a near vertical cliff. We all do. It says it right there. It's like, yeah, that's true. But yeah, so I mean, that like Mako vehicle stuff was kind of a drag in the first game. I liked it, but a lot of people didn't. It seems like they've just tuned it up a lot to be a lot. You can go and do some like mining on planets to get extra resources and money. If you don't want to do that, you don't really have to. So even the little amount of fluff that those games. Anyway, that series is really good. If you've never played Mass Effect, listeners, one of the best series I've ever played. I love that game. I've played because my save files got deleted ages ago when I played Skyrim for too many hours in one weekend. I have played through the first game 3 times, the second game twice, and the third game once. And then I watched Lizzie play through the entire trilogy. It's great. I mean, it's so good. There are all these decisions that you can make that will make things play out differently. You can choose different classes, even between games. If you play the first game as a soldier, when you start the second game, if you want to be a biotic and do a bunch of Jedi stuff, cool, great. Yeah, it just gives you a lot of options to play how you want.
Jedi stuff.
Highly recommend. The other game I've got on my list.
BioWare knows Jedi stuff, so
Yes, they very much do. The first
Hi,
game
I'm
was
Party Leader
modeled-
Thomas, and this is my favorite BioWare game in all the Citadel.
Yeah, yeah. Mass Effect 1 was modeled more after Knights of the Old Republic. And Knights of the Old Republic 2 was a lot smoother than the first one, but there was 1, and then 2, and then Mass Effect 1. And so if you played OG Mass Effect 1, you could see it's way more like KOTOR than it is like Mass Effect 2. So this is them just bringing it in line, modernizing it, because those old, computer RPGs, like they had combat and stuff, but it was all about dice rolls and saving throws and stuff like that. So the other game we've got is Solar Ash. Solar Ash is made by the creators of Hyper Light Drifter. Heart Machine. So Solar Ash was announced in March of 2019, which, until you guys corrected me, I thought that was last year. That was 2 years ago.
Whoops.
So that game was announced 2 years ago. It is slated to come out in June. We'll see. June is still far enough away that we could maybe expect a delay. But made by the people who made Hyper Light Drifter. It's got a gorgeous art style. The elevator pitch, the one sentence they've got on all their stuff is journey through a surreal, vivid, and highly stylized world filled with mystery, wild high-speed traversal, and massive enemy encounters. And that stuff sounds cool. And that's what we saw in the trailer. We saw all sorts of mind-bending, the gravity was weird and the perspective kept shifting. We saw at least one character that spoke to the protagonist, and then we saw a giant, presumably boss monster that the protagonist was racing towards.
Right.
It looks really cool. Very highly stylized, and the fact that it's the Hyper Light Drifter team, I still haven't played that game, but I love the soundtrack, and I need to sit down and probably co-op that with somebody. I think that's the way I want to play that. But I'm very interested. So that's June. We're supposed to expect that. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Carlos, did you get to play more of Hyper Light?
Solar Ash is just years past the production value of Hyperlight.
Well,
so
Hyper Light
the
made so
expectations
much
are
money, yeah.
crazy. Yeah, but I mean this thing looks like if Hyperlight had a baby with Sunset Overdrive or Jet Set Radio Future. The traversal is very fast and it's an absolutely gorgeous game.
It reminds me of that game that came out this year, The Pathless, or the last year, The Pathless, where you have to shoot the arrows to keep your speed going.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of had little nodes like that. I noticed around the world, and that we'll see when I'm assuming we'll see some more of that game soon. Yep.
Video games.
Video games are tight.